here at Hollywood Smoke for another edition of 10 Count. I am Steve Kim, joined as always by Doug Fischer of RingTV and Ken Miller of the Sentinel. Guys, as we look at the past 12 months, 2014, who had the better year, Doug, HBO or Showtime?
It's like asking somebody, what would you rather have, gonorrhea
or syphilis?
Yeah, I mean, 2014 was the year the Cold War finally just basically froze the sport. It was at its worst. For a while, you had two separate leagues in boxing with top-ranked HBO and Golden Boy Promotions Showtime, and they were forced to put their top fighters against each other, and we got some great fights in 2012 and 2013. But then they ran out of matchups within their own leagues, and they weren't fighting against each other. And it was bad. We had a lot of mismatches. We had a lot of blowouts. We had a lot of A sides against C and D sides. I think Showtime had more mismatches. They had more programming overall, and they had more mismatches. So just based on the overall quality, the average quality of the programming, I would go with HBO.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Showtime because
really?
while they had way more mismatches, from a true boxing fan, I just like watching boxing. Sometimes, sometimes I want to see what a certain guy is going to do. Because look, we can all say that they're mismatches now, but the one beauty to the sweet science, there's a lot of times when you really don't know what you're going to get in that box of Cracker Jacks. And so from that perspective, I like that Showtime gave me a lot of boxing programming on a consistent basis. All of it wasn't good programming. All of it wasn't necessarily what I would say I wanted to see, but I got an opportunity to see it. And for me, HBO, while they had the best, most competitive fights, they were too far and in between.
You know what, Ken? I think the first half of the year, HBO and Showtime was like the NFC South. They were both pretty damn bad. Right. They really were, especially HBO. They had some co-features with like Kareem Mayfield. He does not belong on HBO unless he's on one of their documentaries. That's just bad. And Victor Postal. But I thought the last 4 months, guys, I thought HBO pulled away significantly. Yeah. Hopkins-Kovalev was a significant matchup. A lot of people were interested. You take a look at this past weekend. We had the Al Heyman Invitational on Showtime. We had competitive stuff on HBO. And going back to, let's say, Alvarado against Marquez, okay, Provodnikov against Algieri, I really thought if you take a look at the top-rung fights, they all were on one network. And I think Al Heyman pulled one over on Showtime this year because he did not deliver a lot of good fights that I think he had promised them. And the one night, and I know you said mismatches are okay, but that August 9th show, Rod Salka, Danny Garcia was a 75-1 fight. No, that was Lamont Peterson against Edgar Santana was 35-1. That
was painful.
Danny Jacobs, I think, was only a 7 or 8-1 favorite. Literally, we had about, I think, 19 or 20 rounds that night. The underdog did not come close to winning one round. I think things were bad for boxing.
That was pretty bad. But I will say this. Let's go back to December 13th. You guys are talking about, HBO and Showtime. Everybody wanted to see Amir Khan against Devin Alexander over a year ago. That fight was an anticipated fight. It was supposed to be the fight that was going to get you the ticket to Mayweather.
And it was viewed as an even money fight going in.
And it was an even money fight going in. So now that you see it, you're saying, man, it's not, You can't have it both ways. It's the same two guys.
Yeah, but let me just,
it's the same two guys on the same network.
Here's a metric, though, that absolutely speaks clearly, and you could break it down a million ways. And I was given a sheet, and I tweeted it out on Saturday. Out of the top 15 fights on cable this year, the most viewed fights, I think 14 of them were on HBO.
Well, HBO is in more households.
But they're still getting a much larger audience regardless.
They're going to get a larger audience, Steve, because they're in more households.
No,
Look,
you can go check it.
Go check into any hotel anywhere in the country.
Always HBO.
And you can always get HBO, but you could never get Showtime.
But if you even go by shares, percentages, HBO is still having more viewers. There's a reason for it. I think I've had a lot of fans. I don't know about you, but how many fans have come up to you? And again, you say fans don't matter. I think they still kind of do. I've had a lot of fans. You know, I just had to unsubscribe to Showtime.
That's a little extreme.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Listen, as a fan, okay, I could do without the Floyd Mayweather Showbox special editions on Fridays. But even some of those Showtime cards where I wasn't sure what to expect, maybe even looked like a mismatch on paper, sometimes you got a gem like a Robert Guerrero versus a Yoshihiro Kamagata.
Yeah, we were there.
Or a Fight of the Year candidate, Lucas Matisse and John Molina. There's something to say about having as much boxing content as Showtime has had. Sometimes they get lucky, and they have had some actual good scraps. I'll mention another one, Adrian Broner against Emmanuel Taylor.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting a whole lot with that. It was actually pretty good 12 rounds of boxing.
Look, we can say what we want to say, but these guys are not just ready-made stars. So essentially, they have to have a platform to see if they can fight. They have to have a platform that's pretty much an opportunity for them to generate some kind of fan base. Where do you get that platform at? Now we're going to see if NBC and Al Heyman can generate that kind of platform if the American public is willing to say, look, I'm going to tune in for boxing on network television. I really think that boxing is beyond network television now. There's just not enough stars to go around, and I think there's too much programming in other avenues on other stations for the American public to say, you know what, I'd like to have a little bit more boxing on network TV. I don't think that it is going to work.
All right, well, that's it for this segment of the 10 Count. On behalf of Ken Miller and Doug Fischer, this is Steve Kim saying goodbye, everybody.